Get ready to put your thinking caps on. unmuted now. Now you can hear me. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see everybody out again today. I've got a little bit of different show today. As you can see, we had some questions that I put up for you, and hopefully that you enjoyed that. And I don't know how many of them you got right, but I've got another batch set for tomorrow. So stay tuned and get your noggins working. And today we've got something new on the stream. I'm trying to also be on Facebook at the same time. So some people have Facebook only, others have YouTube. They don't have a YouTube account, so they got a Facebook account, but I've got both happening at the same time today. So hopefully we'll see. We might get a few more viewers coming in, but anyway, that was the show, and so we're working on that, and we'll see how it goes, and we might do it again for next time. But I would just like to welcome you all to the show, and I just want to recognize some of the people. Let me just kind of go through here. Metal Sharxs, the J-Man, he's sitting in my green room right now. Riser's Treasure Hunting Emporium's here. Scuba Sonia, sorry I can't make it today, doing my closing for my house, and now it's a bit delayed, so she's busy doing that. We've got Relic Reclaimers, and I understand they are in Surrey, so welcome Surrey. And Mama's gone detecting, one of our favorite people. She's just a great supporter for all the metal detecting channels. Nice to have you aboard, Mama, and thank you. And let's see, who else have we got down here? Oh, and there's Tina. She's in the back somewhere, baking up a cake, I think, for someone, birthday. Let's see, MS Detectorists, welcome. John Lang, Silver Rails. That's a new one. Welcome, John, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and come back again and take care. But we've got Relic Reclaimers, Metal Sharxs, and that's what we've got so far. So anyway, I just want to say thanks for coming, and we've got a great show. I've got J-Man from the Metal Sharxs here. We've got some great questions. He's going to have a story for you at the end that we've got some photos for, so thank you. And without further ado, let me bring him on board here, and we'll get things happening. And here we go. You ready? Hello, J-Man.
Hey, Frank and everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Give us a thumbs up out there, people, and just let us know everything's good. I can hear you well, J-Man, and hopefully everything's coming through at the other end. And nice to see you. And how are things in Florida today?
Well, things are going great here. I mean, after all, they call it the Sunshine State, and we did get some sun today, so we're pretty happy right there. But It's really great to be here. I'm really excited about it. My first time being on an interview. Oh,
great! Yeah, it's just hopefully it's just going to be fun. Nothing serious. We're not going to ask anything that we wouldn't or shouldn't. But we've got some questions out there. Later on, we'll get the audience kind of coming in on it too. So, but usually, what I do, J-Man, is usually when we have an interview, I always like to know the area that you live in and you hunt. Can you paint us a picture of the places that you go to around your home?
Yes, that sounds really good, Frank and everybody. So here in Florida where I live, it's called the First Coast of Florida. There's a lot of history here going back to the 1500s, and St. Augustine is only about 30 or 40 minutes from my front doorstep. And so a lot of activity happened in St. Augustine in the 1500s with the Spanish coming to set up colonies in Florida, and the French, and sometimes the two nations fighting, being at odds with each other. But I'm in that area now, and I'm close to Jacksonville too. So we have miles and miles of public beach access here in the Jacksonville and St. Augustine area. But I also equally like relic hunting, and I'm working on getting more permissions for that. So I have a permission in the family that's a former dairy farm, for example, that's been really productive. and it's in north central Florida. So
Okay.
one thing about Metal Sharxs, though, is we've traveled to all kinds of beaches throughout the state. So I guess beaches are our specialty, but we also like finding the relics too.
Yeah, I guess that's great. I mean, I do see you on the beaches, and I did see one of your videos where you were on that farm, and I can see that you're not a farmer. You were a little
Yeah, that's
hesitant
true.
getting close to that black cow.
Yes. Yeah, there was a herd of neighbors' cows that wandered onto the property more than once. And one of them got real friendly, and I'm pretty sure it's a bull, actually. So, but thankfully, he's not the charging type of bull. So I was A-OK. He was just curious, and I figured I could gently bop him on the nose if he got out of hand with my shovel, but thankfully, I never had to do that.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I saw that video and I thought, oh, that's pretty pretty cool. Like it's always like you get the most people, we live in a city, and for us to go out in the farms and see these animals, it's very very different. Right now, but I have you know other questions that are going to come in here. But now, in terms of machines, when you go out, what kind of machines do you use?
Well, for the longest time, I've been using a Garrett AT Pro. So I would say the Garrett is kind of my pride and joy, like the first machine that you get. It's hard to ever set that aside, and I'll probably keep that as long as I live, try to keep that going. But I really like my Garrett AT Pro. It was my first machine that I got. I got it used back in 2017. So I've only been detecting a few years, but I'm still learning very much in learning mode. But one thing about detecting in Florida, like I was saying, we have so many miles of coastline and beach areas. So it's kind of a no-brainer to just detect the beaches as much as you can. And so I felt like I needed something that would give me a little bit more success at the beach. So what I did this past spring, when it was my birthday again, I asked my family if they would go in on a MindLab Equinox 600.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been learning how to use the Nox the last several months, and I feel pretty comfortable now using it at the beach, but I'm still very much in learning mode with finding relics with it. And so it acts a little bit differently on land, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm glad to have those two machines. And then there's actually a third machine in my arsenal, so to speak, which is a Fisher I think it's called a Fisher F22. And it's a machine I've only used a few times. It's really my oldest son's machine, but since he's not using it too much yet, I've used it. And
Yeah.
it has
Now,
a small,
yeah, I've seen.
small
I think
coil.
the last time you were out with your father. You guys went out somewhere with your father detecting, and
Yes. Yeah, my dad really is into the hobby, and he has some great machines, and he has a machine, the Garrett AT Max, but he also has the MindLab Equinox 800. And just recently, we've gone out a few times, and it was a real blessing because we were able to go out to St. George Island, which is a beautiful island in the along the Gulf Coast of Florida, the Panhandle area. And it's only about 80 or 90 minutes from the capital city, Tallahassee. But there's a ton of history there that I think when we show some of our finds photos later, I can tell you more about the history of St. George Island and some of the World War II training that's gone on there.
okay, yeah, tell us, because it's. I mean, it's very interesting. My experience with Florida is we were down. My wife and I went on a conference many years ago, and we ended up in Orlando. And it just happened. A hurricane just came through. So when we arrived, all the lounging chairs, the chairs in the hotel were all kind of strewn into the swimming pool. Palm trees were thrown over. It was just a mess down there. So, I mean, I give kudos to all the people that can kind of put up with that sort of stuff. But that's my experience with it, and I'm sure a lot of people in Canada or North America or on the West Coast again are very interested in Florida, because we see you hunting along the beaches there, and you see a lot of channels that you come across also.
Yes, and I'm glad you had mentioned the video where I went out hunting with my dad at St. George recently, and I was explaining how that was a real blessing because with all the COVID restrictions, it's hard for somebody. My dad's in his 70s now, so he wanted to be real cautious about going out. But the last month or so, we were able to go out twice, I think, to St. George Island. And we think because it was a busy hurricane season, and hurricane season is really a way of life in Florida, we really have to take that seriously and be aware of different tropical storms and hurricanes.
Yeah.
From June 30th to November 30th is when the season runs. But the season had pretty much wound down, and there was some impacts at St. George Island. And so we think there was some kind of water washover event, like storm surge, this past hurricane season, because we were finding coins right on the surface where at the foot of some sand dunes. And then one hunt, I found a ring, and that was a promise ring, and it said true love on it. And then the next time we went there, my dad found a silver ring and another ring that had, I think, a purple stone in it. And then a brother of mine found a ring too. So that was one of our best weekends ever, because we found 3 rings on the beach in one day.
Yeah. You know, and it's kind of cool because usually when people start off detecting, I guess it's always the big goal is number one is to find a ring, then find some gold, and then find something that's kind of with the value. So you guys very quickly, you know, within your first little bit, had found your rings, and you know, and it's nice to see families going out and detecting. That's a great thing.
Yeah, it really is a good thing, and I really am blessed to have my dad who can hunt with me, and then I have a younger brother who really kind of got our whole family started in detecting, because he was the first one to get a machine one year for his birthday, and I think he started out with a machine called the White's Coin Master.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And later on, he let me borrow his White's machine, so that's kind of how I first got hooked in 2017. After he got one for his birthday in 2016.
Yeah, the White's machines are really good, you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that start out with the Whites because it is a great American company, and they've made some great products. And I just bought probably one of the last ones out of their factory in the TDI Beach Hunter. We have a local dealer in town, and I bought that. He had when they heard that they were going to close their store, he had bought up, I believe it was 7 or 8 of these machines that White's had sent him, and I was able to get one of them. And I've seen people trying to look on the internet to buy these machines, but they're very scarce to get. So, but yeah, you know, so it's nice to, you know, have a variety of machines to hunt with. Now, again, as you've got your YouTube channel, you've had that for a while, and I guess tell us, what is the reasoning? You know, like usually people have different reasons for starting channels. What was yours?
Well, I think I have to give credit to my mom, because you might think otherwise, like usually somebody might get in a hobby like this because of their dad. But in my case, my mom had a milestone birthday a few years ago. It was spring of 2017. And of course, since she's a lady, I won't tell you how old she turned that year. Never ask a lady her age, but anyhow,
right. Yeah,
generally speaking, she's in her 70s and had a milestone birthday. And so I'm part of a large family, and my siblings and I decided to do something to really honor her birthday that year. So we made kind of tribute videos. And then I was just starting to get into metal detecting, so my tribute video was me out detecting and then telling stories about different things growing up that I really appreciated from my mom, and how she got me hooked on some of my other interests. Like, she really liked following the Cincinnati Reds in Major League Baseball. So when I was growing up in the 70s, I started watching them. And so anyhow, we did a special video, and everybody did different segments on the video to honor Mom. And after that, I had so much fun detecting, borrowing my brother's detector, that my family decided to buy my brother's old detector, his AT Pro, at a really good price that he gave us for that. And they gave it to me for my birthday. And then he upgraded to a MindLab Excalibur 2, which is a really nice machine. And he's found great stuff with that.
Really cool. Yeah. I mean, there's so many machines out there. They all have their different, I guess, uses for them. And I think I've mentioned that before. In Canada, we have a lot of steel in our coins. and some detectors really kind of they're geared for the steel. They'll pick up our Canadian clad. Other ones don't. The Mine Labs Equinox, I have to hunt with that with all metal mode because otherwise I miss all our coins and on the beaches. The TDI, which is the pulse machines, I get everything. I get if it's something metal there, it's gonna let me know, and I dig it. So, but now the other question I have is you've seen a lot of people along the Florida coastline, and who are some of the channels that you follow?
Oh, okay. Yes, there are some great channels that I follow in Florida, and one of them is a channel called Captain's Vlog. So it kind of sounds like Captain Kirk, but with a G. And he's in the same area, hunting a lot of the same beaches as I do. And so I'm hoping one day I can do a collaboration hunt with him. I think he's he was in the armed forces at one point, but seems like a great guy. And I've noticed he uses a whites machine too. And also he finds a lot of shark's teeth when he's out detecting. So I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I don't seem to find the shark's teeth, even though I look for them.
Yeah.
Usually I'll stoop over and get what I think is a shark's tooth, and it ends up just being a piece of shell fragment or something. But he's given me some pointers through different comments on his videos, so I really appreciate that. And I'm going to try really hard to find some shark's teeth next time I'm out detecting at the beach.
Now, and these are just your regular saltwater beaches that people go swimming. There's shark's teeth along the shorelines there?
Yes, there sure are. And some of the beaches, more than others, are really known for having shark's teeth there. Like in Ponte Vedra Beach, which is the closest beach to where I live right now, there's a beach called Michler's Landing. And it's famous for a couple of things. Number one, about 2 or 3 years ago, a shipwreck from the 1800s washed ashore there. So you could go see it right there in the middle of the sand. And then number two, people find shark's teeth all the time there. And one time when I was out hunting, a guy gave me one that he found. And he was nice enough to give me one, but I still can't seem to find them quite yet myself.
Yeah, I know, because I've seen Jersey history hunters and Scuba Sonia. They've been out in along the rivers, in some of the East Coast, and they're finding some of these huge shark's teeth, and then some small ones, So I'm really amazed that there's so much of it over on there, and yet I live right by the seashore. We don't get the shark's teeth. I've never seen a shark's teeth. I never even heard of anybody finding one.
Oh, yeah.
So
well, I've seen some aerial photos which show how many sharks are out there at any one time off the coast of Florida, and you'd be pretty amazed. It's like little dots all across the horizon. Yeah. So I think you might at any time be close to dozens and dozens of sharks when you're out there. So it's an important thing for awareness. But just on a kind of a related note, talking about sharks is you had asked me earlier, Frank, about how I started the channel. And I forgot to mention that another part of how I started the channel, in addition to that inspiration I had from my mom's birthday, but I had some brothers and my dad and we like to go shark fishing. And my dad and brothers caught some, but I never did that well shark fishing either.
Yeah.
But so originally we were thinking about making it a part shark fishing and part metal detecting. But over the months, they've required more for shark fishing, and you have to get a permit now. So we've evolved a lot more to just metal detecting.
Okay, now that just reminded me of something. Now, myself, when I look at some things from Florida, I always see alligators. Now, is that something you watch out for when you're going in the parks and around the rivers? Is that a hazard to metal detecting?
Yes, it's something you watch out for, but I would watch out for it more when I go fishing, which is another hobby of mine. But I haven't been out detecting too much near lakes, but it is something you should watch out for. And I don't know if it's true, but I heard that if a gator was near you, you can run in a zigzag line and be able to get away because they can't turn that easily. Yeah. So I guess I'll have to reach that now to find out.
You'll have to try that out, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I know we were watching the news a while back there, and I think somebody in Florida, their little dog got too close, and a little alligator had gotten it, and the guy ran after him and scooped him out of the water and opened its jaws to get the dog out. and he still had a cigar in his mouth when he came up from underwater, which really amazed us. We were just kind of giggling at it. So I don't know if if any of that sort of stuff hits the news for you guys.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that clip on the news too, and I live on a man-made lake in kind of a suburb of the Jacksonville area now. So I'm pretty careful when I walk my dog T-Rex out there. He's a rescue dog.
Yeah.
He's part pug and part corgi and part beagle. So he's kind of a mixture, but he's got a lot of personality. But he's only 35 pounds, and he's been in a couple of our videos. But after seeing that video that you described, Frank, I'm real cautious about taking him near the water.
Yeah. No, I would be too. Yeah, absolutely. It's not the closest place that people should go to, but yeah, it's crazy. But now, have you got something that you really would love to find that you haven't found yet?
Yes, there are definitely some things that I'd love to find. And probably foremost would be anything from the Civil War, a mini ball or three-ringer bullet or a button, and would love to find anything related to the Civil War. And I think that goes back to my mom too, because when she was growing up in Orlando, Florida, she was an avid reader and collected different books about children's stories, like the Hardy Boys or the Bobbsey Twins. So I ended up being a voracious reader in the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. And I read those mystery novels and trying to solve mysteries and find treasures. But I also read about historical figures like Civil War generals Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, Ulysses S. Grant, or Revolutionary War figures like Marion Francis, the Swamp Fox of the Revolution. Then you have the Marquis de Lafayette. And so those kind of figures came alive for me through the books I read growing up.
Yeah.
And that's been a big interest of mine. So if I could find anything, and one of the finds I think we're going to show in the pictures later was a button, an army button.
Yeah.
And at first when I found that, I thought it might be Civil War, but it turned out to be World War I. But I was still pretty happy with that.
Okay. Now, in terms of some of those relics, is this floor? I mean, further up towards, I guess I'm thinking New Jersey, New Hampshire, up that way. There seems to be more of the relics, more of the Civil War things that are found. I haven't really noticed that much in terms of Florida area.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much right about that. I think in Florida we had more limited activity during the Civil War. There were two battles, one called the Battle of Natural Bridge near where I used to live in Tallahassee, then another one called the Battle of Olustee, which is close to where I live now. And before COVID, they did reenactments about these different battles. So I was able to do a video about the Battle of Natural Bridge reenactment that occurred just before the pandemic got really bad this spring. So that was really cool to go out there to the Natural Bridge Historic Park near Wakulla, Florida, and see the guys dressed up, the reenactors on both sides, and the gals that were involved in period costumes, and talk to different people there, even talk to an archaeologist who was out there. And so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it is pretty cool. Like I say, I think that's part of metal detecting. I think everybody's getting into. You may start off wanting to find the coins and that sort of stuff, but ultimately, as it's that history, we look for that history, and it's almost like a drug to somebody. I guess when you're going along, you're sweeping your stick and you hear that beep and you go, oh, what is it? Everybody gets so excited about it, and so it's kind of I think that's what hooks us. So.
Yeah, and I think where I am now in Florida, I'm really close to the border with Georgia. And there was a lot more Civil War activity in Georgia, so I'm looking to make some friends up there and find out more about what parks might be near Civil War sites and maybe be able to do some detecting up there early next year.
Yeah, it's that's kind of cool to be able to. You've got such a great area to hunt, and I just love to be down there sometime. Now, what I'm going to bring up here next is we were talking about some of the photos that you had sent us, and let me just kind of get my other screen going here, and we'll start off on the top, and maybe you can kind of walk us through what some of these items are.
Sure thing. That sounds really good. Thanks, Frank. So the first one there that you're showing is a 50 caliber machine gun shell. So that's a shell that I found that I think is from World War II training. Now you'll see the one below it is real shiny. So that one was just bought, at an Army Navy store, because I wanted to show what one that was non-dug looked like next to one that was found at the beach. But St. George Island and Carabel and Dog Island, different parts of the coast of Florida, about 60 to 80 miles from Tallahassee, the capital. When you go to that part of Florida, during World War II, there was a camp set up there called Camp Gordon Johnston. And they did a lot of training, and it was really these brave soldiers getting ready for action to invade Normandy, France on D-Day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And also there were troops getting ready to go to the Philippines and retake the Philippines. So they did all this training at Camp Gordon Johnston.
This photo is the same as the one prior, right? It just
yes.
We're looking at the bottoms here of them, yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately on the one that I found, you can't make out, the information to tell where it was manufactured. There's a lot of sand still adhering to it and salt, probably.
Yeah. Well, it seems like brass seems to last quite well in the salty water. It doesn't tend to corrode as much as like some of the other zinc and steel and silver kind of goes. Brass seems to be kind of, it just hangs in quite neat. Now this one here is another one here. It's kind of cool. You put the ruler there for us to see the size.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a good idea. And basically this one that you're showing now shows all kinds of different antique automobile parts. And so one of them up at the top is a piece from a Holley carburetor, believed to be from a Model T Ford. So it was really neat to find that at the former dairy farm that permission that my family has in north central Florida near Tallahassee. It's about 7 to 8 acres on a 1950s home and property. But that one, it has even the patent date of December 1914. And I think it's a cover for a mixture well, but it's hard to know exactly what that is, because when you look at a Holley carburetor, if you took all the parts and laid them out on a table, they have a ton of parts.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is. It's definitely a part from a carburetor.
Okay.
And then the two nuts there are from valve stems, and I believe they're connector or adapter pieces from the valve stems on a Model T Ford.
Okay.
And then there's kind of a mystery piece right closer to the ruler. And I don't know what that is, but I think that might be from a Model T Ford also.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last piece.
Cool find. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last piece there is a plate from a Perry manufacturing company out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And so I found that when I was doing a collaboration hunt with a guy named Park Rat Pat, who has a metal detecting channel.
I think I've heard of him too. Yeah.
He's in the Space Coast and Treasure Coast area of Florida.
Yeah.
And so I was really fortunate to go on a hunt with him, and I hope to share a permission with him up here someday. And hopefully reciprocate the favor.
Yeah, you've got some great people to hunt with down there. And this one here, it's just a close up of that Holley carburetor. And I guess like that was always the thing. Is what I remember being a kid. If you had a souped up car, you always wanted a Holley carburetor on it. Those were the things to have.
Amen, brother.
And then we got some coins here. Looks like one penny.
Yes. So the two that you're showing now, that pair is what really got me started in this hobby. So the one on the left was really cool because I found that one about 20 feet from the doorstep of my parents where they live in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
And the one on the right I found about 15 steps from where I used to live in Tallahassee. And so the one on the left is from Tunisia. It's a Tunisian centime from the year 1917. And so that was really neat. Of course, I can't read the language there too well, but on one of the sides it shows the year. And what was really cool was I I found that Tunisian coin 100 years after it was minted. So I found it in the year 2017, about 100 years after that coin was made.
Yeah, you wonder how did it get there? How did like if it's a Tunisian coin, how did it get there, and especially that old? So yeah.
Yeah, because my parents live in a 1950 something home. And so you wonder, was somebody who lived there, did they used to collect coins? Or maybe they traveled a lot and it was part of their pocket change? But
Yeah.
you just start really getting curious about the history of that coin and how that got there and who owned it before I found it.
Yeah, I think we might have to get Nick Molnar on the case on this. He's a coin expert here in Canada and in Ontario. Maybe I have to ask him something. Maybe next time on his live stream.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm going to make a note about that.
yeah, and a great guy. And then we've got this one here, another one. Is this the back of these? I guess.
Yeah, that's the other side of those.
Okay. Yeah.
So the larger coin there is from 1945,
Yeah.
and that's a British large penny.
Yeah. King
And
George
so that
on
was,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm a sucker for anything World War II, and that was from the World War II era, so I was really glad to find that too.
And actually, it's in pretty nice shape. It's got lots of details still on that, which is really kind of cool. So. And then
Yeah.
we've got this one here. This is a little assortment of finds that you've got.
Yes, those are most of the rings that I found since I've started in the hobby. I think I might have misplaced one silver ring, but other than that one, that's pretty much what I've been able to find. And so it's been really, really cool in a short time period to be able to find rings. Always exciting and gets the blood pumping. But the one kind of on top there that's gold colored is 10 karat gold, and it has the number 100 with two bars underneath it.
Yeah.
And I believe that's actually like a 100, I think you call it an emoji.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it's like,
Yeah.
keep it real, give 100% to all that you do. So I think
Yeah.
that's what the meaning of that is.
That's cool. Yeah. Most likely.
And
Yeah.
one next to that is a cherub or angel ring, a 925 silver ring that I recently found at the former dairy farm permission. So that was really cool. Sometimes you can find rings at old home sites, and then most of the ones I found though have been at the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's yeah. Those are cool. That's a cool little collection of finds that you've got there. So, and then our next one here. I think you were talking about the button.
Yes, that is a button that I believe is from World War I era. And so it's called a Great Seal or General Service Army coat button. And that was really exciting to find that this past spring at the former dairy farm. And it rang up, I think, like a dime or a quarter on the Garrett AT Pro.
Yeah.
So I knew there was something good there. And to pull that out, my blood was pumping so much, but you learn as you get it more into this hobby because, my first thought was that it was Civil War. But then I said, well, it could be World War I or World War II. So I asked around some detectorists through Facebook and was able to find out that it was probably from World War I, the way it's designed. And it still has a shank on the back, but it doesn't, the name of the company is obscured, so I'm not sure if it was a Scoville button or who made it exactly.
Yeah. And you got the photo of the back of it, so everything's still kind of pretty good shape, to
Yes.
have the back and the hook on there, and yeah, so. And then we've got looks like something copper.
Yeah, the pictures don't do those justice because they're silver, but I guess the flash or the lighting threw it off a little bit. But there's a Italian silver necklace there,
Yeah.
925 silver, that I found at Pop Top Beach, or what's also the public knows as Michler's Landing in Ponte Vedra Beach, that I mentioned at the beginning, which is the closest beach to where I live now. And then the other item is a sterling silver bracelet, but I put those two together because I have a 15-year-old son, and he likes some of the things I find and then wears them. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
a side benefit of the hobby.
Well, kids like that big bulky stuff, don't they? So.
Yeah, I thought those two items go well together.
Yeah.
They look
No,
like
for sure.
men's jewelry to me.
Yeah. And then you've got looks like an old skeleton key.
Yeah, that was something that was really cool to find. being from a large family, I have family all over Florida and then in some different states. But I have a brother and family who live in Melbourne Beach. And so it's a real blessing and treat to visit him and his family.
Yeah.
And they have a 1930s home there. And he was, making a lot of improvements at his home. And he also did some improvements out in the yard. And so while some work was being done, he had some workers scrape off some gravel in a parking area that had been used for parking for many years in his front yard. So I detected there, and it was pretty challenging because there's a telecommunications line parallel to the road, the access road. And so I was getting a ton of interference on the Knox 600, but I just kept going. And it rang up like a dime or something, but it turned out to be the skeleton key. And what was also really cool about it is I found it really close to Halloween. And so he and his family had their house all decorated for Halloween. So it made for a good YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
The Halloween
That's pretty cool. That is cool. And then this one here it looks like it's a Mexican.
Yes, that was a Mexican coin from 1954. And so I found that when I was out detecting with Park Rat Pat. The one time I was able to go out with him in the Melbourne Beach area on a permission that he shared with me. And that was I thought that was going to be the find of the hunt that day. And it was really cool. It kind of redeemed the whole hunt for me because Pat seemed like he was tearing it up. Like he was finding padlocks on a home property from the 1940s, some old padlocks from the 1800s, and all kinds of neat things like a really old dog tag, a rabies tag. But then I found that toward the end of the hunt. But then that wasn't the end of the story because I got back and checked all my other finds, and there was this one crumpled up piece of metal, and it turned out that was the Perry Manufacturing Company plate that we showed earlier.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I almost threw that away. Almost threw it away, but then I looked at it more closely and saw the wording on it, and I'm glad I saved it.
Yeah. Sometimes, I do the same thing. I'll have a bunch of junk in my bag, and I come home and I'll go through it again because you don't want to throw away anything that may have some historical significance to it. So, okay, and then this one here, I guess this is the other front.
Check.
Yeah,
that's the other side, the front there. But always double check your trash is my motto.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And then this one here is another Frederick Sales Corporation.
Yes, sir. That's a advertising and good luck token.
Okay.
So I found that when I lived in Tallahassee, and that was a permission of a neighbor's yard, and it was the oldest house on the street where I used to live, a home from the 1940s. And so I was really glad this neighbor was also the hairdresser for my wife. And so my wife encouraged me to ask her if we could detect her yard. And she said, yes, no problem. So I was really glad I asked her.
Yeah.
But I found some neat things on her property like horse tack and some wheat pennies and different things. But one day I found this good luck token, and it was from the Great Depression era, the 1930s, and the Friedrich Refrigerator Corporation out of San Antonio, Texas. So that was really exciting to find because I got to thinking about how companies back then really went above and beyond to give customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
And it just shows in that cool design, but they talk about quality and service and satisfaction. But when I first dug that, there was more dirt on it, and I didn't know what that was. Like the shield design made it seem like it might be an old Spanish item or something. So it really got my adrenaline going.
Oh, yeah. No, that's quite interesting. Yeah. And I guess this is the other side, the good luck side of it, with the horseshoes on there. So that is kind of a cool find. Yeah, I guess the other thing is a lot of people now, I live in a condo, so we used to live in a home one time, and it would have been great to be able to dig all the yards around your neighborhood and then the boulevards and what have you. But now living in condo, I'm kind of limited. I have to find my beach and parks and just to get out and do my hunting on there. So now we're coming up to that story, and I hope that everybody's gonna just kind of keep us watching here. And you've got this find that you found, and there's a story behind this, and so tell us the story.
Okay, sure, Frank. And there is kind of a story behind this capsule that you see before you. And so basically before you, there's a capsule that's made out of PVC pipe, and it weighs about 4 pounds, and it's about 9 inches long. So when you look at that, it also has this note in black Sharpie marker.
Yeah.
If you are not very in, and then I did airbrush the picture so the person's last name would be protected, but it says, please put this back. And there was also a date on it. But basically, this was a capsule that my family and I found. My sister, whose nickname on our channel is the Seagal, was the one who found it. And it was at a site that we talked about earlier, St. George Island, and it was at the state park on the island.
Yeah.
So basically what we did was we kept a close, like a lot of people in Florida and the southern states, we keep a close eye on hurricane season. And then as soon as it's safe after hurricane season, often we'll try to search the beaches.
Yeah.
Because hopefully sometimes you can find better stuff that way and look in cuts and eroded areas. So in October of 2018, this terrible Hurricane Michael, struck the Gulf Coast of Florida. It just devastated Port St. Joe, the small fishing village. And it also did a lot of damage to St. George Island. So the state park there ended up being closed about 5 or 6 months after that. So fast forward to the spring of 2019, and my family and I, 4 of us, went out there detecting at the state park. We kept checking to see when it would be open again. And so the state officials opened one pavilion for limited use. And we went there and started detecting. And I was seeing a lot of rebar, a lot of 2x4s and screws and bolts and things like that. So I was kind of leery of detecting there. But my sister, to her credit, found this thing in the sand, and she kept digging and pulling it up. And I think if I had found it, I might have just left it there thinking it was construction material. But she pulled it up. She used a White's machine, and she got that pulled out. And then we kind of puzzled over it for a while, because that note on there, when you first read it, you might skip over the word please. It might even seem a little threatening.
Yeah.
So to be honest, we thought about just leaving it there, but we decided to go ahead and dig it up, and we shook it and could hear it rattling really good. So we knew there might be something good in there, but we took it home with us because we couldn't get it open there. It was so tightly sealed, and we were able to open it, and this is what the contents were. So thankfully it wasn't anything bad. Like one of our thoughts was it might have been something even sinister, like a pipe bomb. So we were really careful, God forbid nowadays, but you have to sometimes think that way. So basically it had these items in it that you see before you in this next picture. So this is, there were some cool baseball cards. There were some Matchbox cars. There were souvenir seashells. There was a promotional pen from a business. And then the coins that were there were really cool. There was a silver eagle, and then a 40% silver 50-cent coin, and 3 Sacagawea dollar coins, and various other things there.
Wow.
But now, this capsule was placed there in the year 2000, in the spring of that year. It was never meant to be there 19 or more years, but that's what ended up happening. So there's a little bit more to the story. So basically, our channel did kind of an announcement video to see if we could find the original owner. And we didn't give away the island right away. We just said it was at one of the sites we had detected in the past year.
Yeah.
But nobody claimed it. So then after a period of time went by, we tried to do some internet searching. And there were 2 phone numbers on the promotional pen. And one of them was obscured by saltwater intrusion damage. But the other number, I was able to call and get a hold of a guy named Steven. And Steven is a guy who has a contracting business in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And back in the early 2000s, he used to go vacationing at St. George Island with his young children. And they would have fun, like making treasure maps and placing capsules and then finding them.
Yeah.
He had a good buddy that was planning to vacation a few weeks later, but push came to shove and something came up and his buddy couldn't go there. And then hurricanes season came up later that year, and there was damage that year to the state park. So then, things changed, and they never could find that capsule. So I called him last year, and he said, "Well, you guys found it, so you can keep it," because my buddy could never get back there to find it.
No, that was cool. That's a cool story, to find this thing, and you can see that $5 bill. Like, I guess what happened is there was some water intrusion in that. It wasn't completely sealed off, so there was some damage to these things. But it's still a cool kind of a time capsule, and to be able to find the owner after all those years who put it there, it's kind of neat too, So
Yeah, it was really a fun adventure for the family and I.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they never
absolutely.
intended it to be there that long, or maybe they would have sealed it better.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I appreciate. Yeah, thanks for sharing that story with us. So what I would like to do here is we've got a little time yet left, and if there's some questions and you'd like for the J-Man, please put it down into the chat. And I did see one earlier here from somebody, and I'm just kind of trying to find it again. Is if you, I think it was something. Do you follow? Oh, no. Do you follow anybody in the UK? Was the question.
Yes, that's a good question. I really like the detectors over in the UK. Like, I think there's one, Digger's Den, Tyson Fury,
Mm-hmm.
and I know there's some other ones, and I definitely like watching what they find over there because they find some neat hammered Roman coins and different things like that. And I'd love to go over there one day.
Yeah, yeah. I had Terry on our show just a while back, and he's a great guy to have on. Wealth of information again, and he's another one of those guys that he's got a new detector, and he will just go into the minute detail to make sure that works for him, and the things that he's finding with, and they're not fancy machines. They're just kind of the average machine for the person that just wants to kind of go out as once in a while. But he's finding some incredible things with it, So and it was kind of cool to talk with him. Is there anyone else that you?
Um, I don't know off the top, but I know there's some others that I subscribe to. I definitely have a lot of subscriptions, and I try to keep up with as many as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it is hard. I've got I think probably at least 400 that I subscribe to and try to follow them also. I'll take time to kind of see the videos and what have you, but it is very difficult. And the thing is to also to leave comments for them, because again, it's just nice to get some feedback on your videos. So I always appreciate when somebody leaves a comment. I wish more people would, just take that extra couple of seconds and, put a little comment on there rather than just kind of sitting there looking at it and then they move on, but they do, some people do kind of come back, but, there's a lot of people that don't subscribe to channels. And really, if I do, I usually hit the bell and I get notified if something comes up. And the thing is, you don't have to watch it at that particular time, but at least hey, so-and-so's got a nice new video up, and maybe it's time to have time to watch it. So
Yeah, and I always learn new things from different channels that I subscribe to. I mean, one example is Digging with Deej,
yeah,
because I was pretty new, and she's out of Michigan. So when I started in the hobby of 2017 and 2018, I'll confess that I didn't really know how to dig nice, clean plugs. But one time she was on a live stream, and so I asked her a question in the chat, and she gave me this idea for doing like a horseshoe-shaped plug, so then you could flip it, and you don't actually cut through all the grass, and hopefully the grass can grow back nicely at that permission. So I've been working at getting better with my plugs, for example, by watching these other channels, or you learn different things. Like I'm trying to learn from Robert Ferguson, who's out in California, because he does a ton of beach hunting with a Equinox. And so I think I can learn a lot from him. And I think that's how he makes his living, through detecting and through his channel.
Oh, probably. I think so too. Yeah, I know. Digging with Deej, I've been in touch with her, and I've wanted her to come on and do an interview with her too. It'd be kind of a cool person to talk with, So, but yeah, no, that's great. So I'm just saying, is there any other questions out there from anyone that we can? Let me just go through. There was here from BC Treasure Trails. Time bomb is on my bucket list, so it would be quite something. And Mama's gone detecting. Yeah, Terry's awesome, and he is. My wife was enamored with his accent, So, yeah, I've got a few people, kind of lined up for coming up in the next little bit, and then I'll talk about it near the end of it. But what I would like to do is right now is say thank you very much for coming on and sharing your stories for us and to our audience. It's just it's really cool. If you can hang on, I'm just going to set up. I've got a mail call that I'm going to do. We had, let me just set it up for you. And yeah, I've got 3 mails, and I'm just going to, I'm going to switch. So I may lose you, J-Man, but I'm going to go over here.
Well,
okay.
Thanks a lot, Frank, and everybody. And I'll stay around, but I really appreciate it. It's been a real honor to be on here.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Let me just give me a moment. Okay, there we go. All right. I've got some mail that came through, and one was from Digging Canuck. So I just wanted to kind of open them up and thank everybody for their contributions and sending stuff to me. It's just really appreciated. And it looks like there's a little note in here. Okay, so I just wanted to thank you for your recent envelope postcards are beautiful, and the stickers will be shared. I'm closing some of mine Digging Canuck stickers for you. Thank you for your support, Liz from Digging Canuck, and she is a great person to support the metal detecting people and channels, and so I really appreciate it. We've got some new little stickers with the Canadian flag and her photo here, and I will share these too and for future giveaways, for Liz, and so thank you very much, Digging Canuck. Really appreciate that. And then also we've got another one here, and it's just timely. I had one from the J-Man just come through, and I had him all lined up to talk with, so it's kind of cool. So share the teeth. So we've got here, you can see, he's got all the shark teeth and the jaw of the sharks. I guess he was talking about it, finding him in Florida. So, many thanks for encouragement and support here. Here are some stickers as promised, and looking forward to being on the guest on your show. So it just worked out just perfect, they just arrived just as we were having an interview. So that's cool. And so he's got some really cool stickers. And again, I'm going to keep one, and I'm going to put some in there for future giveaway. Here's the park rat metal detecting too. So we've got some of that, and we've got the history detecting Smiths. So I've got some their stickers also, which is kind of cool. So yeah, so these are great. Thank you very much. And
Sure.
I have another one here. We've got this one's from Mama's Gone Detecting. Thank you very much, Brenda. Oh, and a Christmas card. Believe in the magic of Christmas. Best wishes for 2021. Sincerely, Brenda. Mama's Gone Detecting. Thank you, Mama. Awesome. We've got a beautiful card from her. So that's the mail call for today. And that's pretty well my show for the day. I wanted to just say thank you for everybody that's come on and tuned in. You know, Ambient Girl, thanks. I know she ran home. Nancy ran home from work to come out and help us here. And she's doing a great job here. We've got, let's see, BC Treasure Trails. And I got, he just put on here that we need some Digging Richmond stickers. So we'll have to get some for you for sure. Just let us know where to send them. And North Jersey Detector just came on. Open my card for Mama Hub, and up. Here we go. Let's see what you got here. Money inside, but there wasn't. Oh yeah. Well, you can't get money in an envelope. Usually it's bills. You know, is what we have in there. So, Jersey History Hunters. Hey dudes, looks like they've just tuned in here, and thanks for coming in here. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. You know, like we're just seeing Risers Hunting Emporium. You know, they're here. So we've got a good, really cool bunch of people on the channel, and that's just like I say. I just want to say thanks for everybody, and Metal Sharxs. You know, the J-Man, he's got some great stories, and so we're looking forward. But I want to talk about tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. That's Pacific time. I have the True Vikings on from Europe, and they're currently they're not living together currently. They're working at different parts of Europe. One's in Denmark and one is in Sweden. So they're going to be coming in first thing 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're going to have a great talk with them. They were on a dig with I think the government over in Denmark, and they've found some artifacts from 600 AD. We've got some photos of it that we can talk about. They're going to tell us some of the stories of their hunting together, and so it's pretty cool because both of them are geologists, which is really kind of interesting. They can tell us some stories about what have you. So all their finds. They make great videos. So if you haven't seen them, please tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock, and we're going to have a great show then, and hopefully everybody can come in. And after that, on the 18th, we've got the Copperheads. So put that in your daytimer, and that's going to be in the afternoon. We're gonna be talking with them. They're going to be tuning in, and so they're going to have some stories to share with us. They've already sent me some photos that we'll talk about and some of their finds. So stay tuned, and there's some really good stuff in there. So really appreciate it. And Jersey History Hunters, Audra and Rachel, I'd like to have you on the show sometime. So we will talk, and then be kind of cool to have you on and just chit chat from one end of the country to the other. So I'd love to have you. So we'll talk again. You guys are great supporters, and so thanks for coming along. And then I think this is the time, 11 Eastern time for tomorrow morning. So it should be pretty good, you know, for the East Coast. So hopefully I can get some people coming out from there and coming in there. But that's all I have. I appreciate you coming. Appreciate J-Man, Metal Sharxs. Appreciate Nancy, Ambient Girl, Jersey History Hunters, New Jersey Detector, BC Treasure Trails, Mama's Gone Detecting, Metal Sharxs, Risers. Who else we have here? All you people have just been fantastic. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to go and say thank you, and I'm going to sign off at my end.